Okay, so you're not going to be able to see my webcam or anything. This is just bare bones, and I had to do some behind the scenes kind of editing, but we kind of went over a little bit with the audio how to add that, but we're going to add the video sources at this point in time too, because now we can see the settings. So what we're going to do is when you see this open up, you're not going to have any scenes. It'll just be blank. So we did the scene collection. So here's our classroom 101. And then basically what you would have seen is a completely black screen. You would have seen basically that. There would be none of this audio inputs here. It'd just be blank. So what you would have to do is, like we said before, is go into the settings, and you're going to go to your audio. And I just set this up. It was really easy to do right from scratch. So audio, like we did before, we chose desktop audio as a default. Mic audio is your microphone. And then you would just do apply, do OK, and then you would see that your audio would be here. And what we didn't go through is doing our video stuff. So when you create the scene, this is just basically your first scene. It automatically calls it scene. You have your main monitor under this scene. So let's actually take this scene, do a right click on it, and you're going to hit rename, and we're just going to call this main. Or let's just call this main. And then let's also just click this plus again and add another scene, and then let's call this SE secondary, or let's call it info. I'm trying to think of good scene names to call these. So basically your main is going to be like your main teaching scene. This will be, let's just call this, I guess, secondary. And you can name these anything that you want. If you wanted to do like with my gaming and that sort of thing, I have basically like an intro, and then I have while I'm in game, and then I have an ending scene, so they all look different. And I know it's kind of confusing, but it'll make sense in a moment. So basically we created our secondary a secondary scene here, and if we go to it, you're not going to see anything. It's going to be the black screen like I was talking about. So what we need to do is we need to add a source to it. We need to add what's called a monitor. So how I did that is I'm going to add my second monitor here to show you. So you just hit the plus button here, and it gives you all sorts of options. You can do audio capture, display capture is what we're going to do. But you can do video capture, that would be your webcam. You can add text, and we'll kind of go through some of this. Some of it's more in depth, but we'll go through the basics. So you're going to just hit display capture, and then it'll ask you to create a name for whatever display that you're using. So I'm just going to call this my second monitor, because I have two monitors going right now. But you would call this probably like your monitor main or something like that. And actually, no, we'll call it that. And then basically it's going to bring you a pop-up, and down here you'll see where it says display, and you just hit the drop down menu here, choose your display. So this will be my second display, and then we're going to say OK. And there we go. We have our second display. Delete, 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 delete. Remove this source. Yes. I don't think I want to have a bastard on there. Test, 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 test. Hey guys, IceCat79, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a quick and dirty, try and make it quick and dirty tutorial for using OBS Studio. Let me start that over. Hi guys, IceCat79 here. What we're going to do today is I'm going to try and do a training video, basically a 101 on using OBS Studio, and we're going to try and focus it on using OBS Studio for teachers who want to either do a live stream or who want to just try and create quick quick videos that they can put online for teaching. And I'm going to show you how to make that a little bit easier on yourself, how to do that video wise. So let's just kind of jump right into it. The first thing that you're going to want to do is obviously Google OBS Studio, or you can go to obsproject.com. This is completely free open source software, very, very versatile. Basically what OBS Studio is if you think of like streaming online, like a Twitch, where kids are streaming their video games, or recording YouTube videos, that sort of thing. The only thing that you really need is to have the software to be able to do that, which we'll download. You need to definitely have some space for videos if you're planning to record them and then upload them later, or you can also record them live, but you do want to make sure you have a pretty good internet connection to do that. Most of the time you should be able to do this. If you don't have the greatest internet connection, you can always try and record them record them on your hard drive. You can keep them short, and then you can edit them together later using some sort of video editing program. There's plenty of free editing programs out there that are easy to use. You can even do that through YouTube if you want to upload it to YouTube. So we'll just kind of get started with this. First thing you're going to want to do is find your platform, or I'm sorry, not your platform, but your operating system. So mine is Windows. I'm going to choose Windows, and then obviously it's just going to possibly pop up here right for you. Just hit Save File, and since I already have it saved here, I'm not going to save it, but you would hit Save, and then just wait for it to download. And once it downloads, then you're going to navigate to the folder that you saved it at. So I saved mine onto my desktop, and basically you'll see up here is OBS Studio. So you're just going to want to click this, or I'm sorry, double click it to install it. You're going to click yes if it asks you to if you want to install it on your machine, and then just go through the install process. Just hit next. I already have this running, so it won't let me go through the whole process, but basically you're just going to hit next until it starts downloading. Once it downloads, then you're going to find the icon down here, which would be OBS Studio. You'll double click it to open it, and since we already have OBS Studio running, I will bring that over into our monitor here so you can see this. It's going to look a lot different than what you're seeing right now. In fact, you'll probably see something like that, which is a blank screen, and you will see down here where your sources are, there will be nothing here, there will be nothing here, there will be nothing here. So we'll go over how to do that. What you're going to want to do first things first is when you set up a new scene, you want to first, it might have you set up your video camera or audio or anything, but I doubt it. First thing you want to do is just select Scene Collection, and then New, and when we do, it'll ask us to name the collection. I already have a collection set up here, so I'm not going to add a new one, but I would type in like Classroom 101, so 101, and then you would hit OK. I'm just going to hit cancel for this time being, and it'll still look the same. Nothing really will come up. If it doesn't, then you can see down here under your scene collection, this is Classroom 101, and that's what you're going to want to click on. And the way to think about your scenes that I think is the most helpful is going to be, think of it like a music folder. So your scene collection is going to be a folder on your computer where you keep all your music. And then if you're organized, what you'll have next is when you open that music folder, you'll have folders with each band name. So you'll have a folder for AC/DC, you'll have a folder for Shania Twain, and you'll have a folder for Yanni. So you'll have those three folders, and inside those folders, is where the actual MP3 files are. So that's where all the songs are for each of those artists. So if you kind of think about that sort of structure, it's the same sort of structure as your folders on a computer. Easiest way to think about that. Scene collection is one folder. Inside scene collection, you're going to have all your different scenes, and inside your scenes, you're going to have your sources. So that kind of makes a little bit of sense. So what you're going to want to do first is click on this plus icon here, and you're going to be asked to name your scene. So let's just call this class intro. Okay, so that's basically our class introduction. When I create the scene, obviously it's going to be blank. So let me go back up to here so you can see what I'm doing, and that's fine. We'll go over that in a second. So you will see your class intro here, but there will be no sources. There will be none of this. So what you're going to want to do is, first and foremost, in my case, I just go left to right. So I'm going to create a new source. So we'll just hit source, and on that source, you're going to do display capture. And you're going to name this. If you have 2 monitors, you can do 2 monitors, but if you just have one, you can call this something like monitor 1, or main monitor if you only have one. I have 2, so I'm going to just name this monitor 1. Go OK. And then it'll ask me which display I want to choose. And I'm going to choose my second display because I already have a main one set up here, but you would choose like whatever display that you would want to set up. And we'll just click OK. And now you can see we have our monitor showing over here. It's going to show kind of strange, which is fine. You can kind of see what's going on. I'm going to minimize that a little bit. So you can see basically this is our overlay. If I would just turn off my main monitor, that goes away. So that's basically my secondary monitor. So you can see over here, and then this is my main monitor here, secondary monitor here. You kind of get the idea, I hope. I'm going to clear this out just because that is confusing for the moment. So basically we're just building our main display. So we got that, but I have to add this monitor back. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. There we go. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know